Today's episode of New Jersey Living will feature Springfield, New Jersey. Springfield is another one of those towns, like a few other of my episodes, where you don't hear these towns a lot unless you're here in northern and sometimes central New Jersey. Springfield is neighboring directly to Westfield, Summit, Union, Mountainside, so it is very much local to some of the high attraction, high demand locations surrounding us. But for the most part, I'd say flies under the radar as a real focal point of where you may want to look for a property. And hopefully this episode will give people more reason to look at Springfield, because it is very much a viable option that you can get a relative bargain compared to those neighboring towns of Westfield on one side, Summit on the other. Right now, I'm in Lenape Park, so I didn't start the episode with we're in Springfield, because we're not. Right now, we are in Westfield. So Lenape Park, I'm going to pan around a little bit here and give a little bit of a detail about the park. Lenape Park is a park that is divided between Springfield and Westfield. The portion of the park that we are in right now is in Westfield. There is a pond right here behind me. There will be people fishing there oftentimes in the summertime. And there is a walking, biking trail right here that goes from Mountainside through Westfield into Cranford. It's a pretty extensive trail. My wife and I both bike and walk this trail a lot in the summer and springtime. And it's probably, to do the whole trail, has to be at least 7 miles. It's the whole cycle, the whole circuit of it. But it's a very, very nice option to have locally. So if you're in Westfield, if you're in Springfield, Cranford, Kenilworth, Mountainside, all those communities are like right here around this park. And it's a great option to just come out and spend some time in nature a little bit, but not to be too deep in nature where you don't have like paved trails and things like that. So you still can bike. So really, really nice option. So Springfield, I'm going to jump into the big three, because we are from this location. We're going to get directly into the property tours from here. So big three, train, I'm going to start there. No, there's no train in Springfield, so it's going to get an X for train. There are bus lines, like I said in many other episodes, that go through every town for the most part. There are express lines, so there will be bus, but no train. All right. Schools, I'll flash up there, theniche.com. It is an A-rated district, so it's going to get a check for schools and for proximity. Again, we're neighboring to Summit and to Westfield, and depending on time of day, Springfield is right up against 78 and 22. Both are roadways that lead into New York City, east-west. So I'd say about a 35-minute drive to get to the Holland, and the Lincoln's probably about 40, maybe a 40-minute drive to Lincoln. So certainly proximity is going to get a check. So 2 out of the 3 is going to be checked off for Springfield. We're going to find that some prices are going to be far more affordable than what you'll see in my Westfield episode, my Cranford episode, and my Summit episode. So this is something that absolutely you want to pay attention to if you kind of like the dynamics of those communities. It's not the same as those communities in terms of the aesthetics. It does have a more contemporary suburb. And by contemporary, I mean it doesn't have the homes from back in early 1900s. All right, so that is not so much a community like that, although it does date back historically. It does date back a ways, but it doesn't give you that same feel that you'll find in both Plainfield and Westfield with some of these older Victorians, things like that. So we're gonna, like I said, get started on the first property, which is not too far from here. So we won't go in the normal sequence of lowest price to highest price. This is gonna be one of the higher price points that we stop at first, and then we'll stop at the other 3. Those will be in sequential order from lowest to highest in price point. So thanks again for joining. I'll see you at the first stop. Welcome to New Jersey Living. My name is Corey Jones, and I'm a real estate agent here in New Jersey with Prestige Properties. And my job is to bring content like this to viewers like you. I get routine phone calls all the time, emails also, Calendly invites also, for those who are just looking in the market to make a purchase, sometimes a rental, sometimes looking to sell a property. So if you're looking for a channel where you can get insights on all things New Jersey, primary real estate, but also iconic locations, places to dine, social scenes, this is the channel for you. So please do click like, subscribe, and the notification bell to stay updated on all the content that we have coming your way in the days and weeks to come. We put out 2 episodes per week, and as I announced in the beginning, we are featuring Springfield, New Jersey. In this episode, I am now actually in Springfield. We've left Lenape Park, which is divided between Westfield and Springfield, although we were on the Westfield side. Just going to pan around a little bit, give you an idea of the neighborhood that we're in. I mentioned in the intro, a lot of Springfield is very much like this particular community. You don't have older historic homes. These homes here on this block, which are a mix of splits and Tudor style ranches and some contemporary colonials, built in 70s and 80s. Behind me is our first stop, is 30, and we are on, let me look up the street name, we're at 30 Benjamin Drive. This property listed at $580, sold at $615, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Was on the market for just about 3 weeks, 22 days. Late September listing, so I want to say September 29th was the listing on this, and that point in time the market is well into the rate hike. So just to give you an idea, as I've been saying in other episodes, properties are still moving very quickly here in New Jersey. This property was not newly renovated, not a new renovation with all these upgrades, but given the location, the price point, the potential, again, you can get a feel for the type of neighborhood that you're buying into. We are directly off of South Springfield Ave, which is the main road that takes you to 22, which, as I mentioned earlier, is kind of a main state highway that cuts east-west leading into New York City. So this is very much a reasonable buy considering what the market has been over the past couple years. To get this right at low 600 in Springfield, schools very good, and neighboring to locations where you can take a train, but more likely you're going to either drive or take a bus into the city if you really want something that's in town in terms of commute. So this is the section of Springfield that's very close to Route 22, and Route 22 is significant because there's a ton of retail and commercial businesses, and if you've been watching the channel, you know that means is offsetting tax dollars, right? So helps to offset property taxes. But Springfield doesn't have a long stretch, I should say, of Route 22. It's only roughly about a mile plus, maybe mile and a half, compared to some other towns that have considerable stretches of Route 22 that has car dealerships and restaurants and every kind of commercial you can think of that would be local retail. All right, so we're close to that section of Springfield. We're gonna venture into the next neighborhood. It's gonna be a little closer to Millburn, which is another one of the bordering towns here for Springfield. So those who are joining, thanks again for coming back. Those Jersey hunters, if you're newly joining us today, welcome again, and let's go on to our next location. I'll see you there. Our second stop here at 76 Colfax for our Springfield property tour, and as I pan around for this neighborhood, you're going to start to notice probably right away that these are more mature, older established homes in this area compared to the one that we were initially, where everything was pretty much constructed in the 70s and 80s. Here, these are certainly more along the lines of pre-war, 30s, early 40s. The property behind me, 76 Colfax, is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. List price was $389, sold at $407, and still was only on the market for about 2 weeks. Less than 3 weeks it took to sell this one. I think it was right around 2 weeks. You'll see the flash up. The taxes are still not super friendly. As you said, the first one was $17,000. This one is $9,000 for a relatively small home. But we are, location-wise, very much a few blocks away, literally, from Millburn. So to drive from where I stand right now to the Millburn train station is roughly a 5 to 8 minute drive, depending on traffic. So location-wise, this is very, very conveniently located in short driving distance to a train that you can get to the city. There's also the dining scene of downtown Millburn. All right, so you don't have that true downtown feel in Springfield the way you do Summit, the way you do Millburn, the way you do Westfield, which is part of the reason why you don't have as high demand here as well. But this is a nice tree-lined street. Homes are pretty consistent with smaller colonials, and this one is more 76 Colfax is more of a cape. It looks to be like the only cape from what I can see right now. But all three of our final three are in the same general neighborhood. So we're gonna hop just one block over to take a look at another property. So stay tuned, take a look at some of the street footage that I have from along the way, and I'll see you at the next stop. We're just one block away from Colfax. We're on Severna now. This is 21 Severna behind me. This is another 2-bedroom home, albeit 2-bedroom bath and a half. Original list price here was $460, dropped down to $435. This one was on the market a total of 3 months before selling. So went a little higher. You can see probably can see a little bit here. I'm not too close up on it, but the exterior condition noticeably is better shape than what Colfax was, and it's a bigger property than what Colfax was as well. So the $435 sell price compared to the $407 really makes sense for that reason. And just panning around, the homes surrounding are a little larger on this side, well, particularly the one behind me. The other colonials, I guess, are comparable, but there is a little bit of a different aesthetic on this given block than the other block. But again, like I mentioned before, we are blocks away from the Millburn border and a short drive to get to either the dining scene or to the train to New York City. So for 2-bedroom, bath and a half in the low 400s is not a bad price point at all for this given location. There's a nice neighborhood park here as well for those that may have younger children. So you'll routinely see folks walking dogs out in the area. Nice quiet neighborhood that's not far at all from major roadways, because we're only about maybe a half mile from 78, the entrance onto 78, which takes you into the city and or Jersey City. And you're also on right off of Morris Ave, which is a major thoroughfare that cuts all the way through Springfield into Maplewood into Union. So conveniently located, definitely, and still have that quietness here and close proximity to major roadway. So we have one more final stop after this. I'll see you at the next stop. We are at our final stop here in Springfield, and we are so close to Millburn. I almost called it Millburn as I was preparing myself. We are, as I've said before, a short distance to downtown Millburn train station. The Short Hills station is very reasonable from here as well. You can go either one direction or another. both are probably right around that half mile, if not a little bit more than a half mile distance from where I am right now in front of 18 Tower Drive. So still same neighborhood, obviously, and this property was listed basically at $615,000, 100,000 short, 614, 900, sold at 625, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, recently renovated. So the kitchen was redone, and you may be able to notice some other renovations that you can see that were touch-ups, not a total gut renovation or thorough from top to bottom, but they were meaningful upgrades here. Was on the market for basically a month before selling. So this is, as I pan here, you're gonna see or probably notice homes are a bit more similar in style, and I would say your lot sizes are more consistent. I won't say they're all large, because they're not, but you find a little bit more continuity on this given block where we are right now. I see somebody here's a Steelers fan down, a couple houses down. I like what I see when I see a flag representing Steelers. So this is going back to price points. When we had our Millburn episode, I want you to go back and check that out if you haven't seen it. Go back to Millburn and you'll notice that a property that was very comparable to what we see right here sold in mid-high 800s. And that is probably 1 mile away from where we are right now. All right, so difference being Train, the downtown section, of course. Schools are a little higher rated in Millburn. Not gonna deny that. That is the fact of the matter, but you're still having an A-rated school system here in Springfield. There are some things, some areas I should say, that's noteworthy about Springfield, because the Rahway River does cut through a portion of Springfield, so flooding can become an issue in certain parts of town. That's something to certainly investigate. Similar to if you've seen my Cranford episode and my Rahway episode, Rahway River flows through those towns as well. But in this section, there will be no concern about flooding for where I stand right now. So this is the gist of Springfield. I think it's a very, very viable option if you're not looking to pay that Westfield Summit Millburn premium, but you are still looking for a nice suburban option that is not too far from a reasonable commute into the city with train or with bus. So I want to thank everyone again for joining for this episode. Thank you for staying to the end. Please do click like, subscribe, notification bell. We have more content coming your way twice a week, and free t-shirts are still going out. So if you still want one, drop me a line inside, and we'll inside the comment section, and we'll make some arrangements to get one to you. Please feel free to leave comments in general. This is a community page. Do keep it friendly, keep it respectful. Most of them are, but from time to time I do get a few that have to remove. But we want to certainly be educational. We want to be community oriented to help one another. And if you by any means need some insights, some opinions, those are free of charge. This is a channel for the benefit of those who are just curious or looking to buy or sell right here, or rent right here in New Jersey. So thanks again for joining, and I'll see you next episode.